Well, hello and welcome back to the channel, everybody. We're actually somewhere we haven't been before. If you look around, there's some live oaks, some Spanish moss, a few cypress trees. I see some palmetto bushes up there in the woods. We're below the fall line, and we're targeting the Suwannee bass, Micropterus notius, for the Georgia Bass Slam. And I've caught the Suwannee bass before, and I've fished below the fall line before, but this is the first time this fishery has been featured on this channel. And going somewhere new or somewhere you haven't been in a while, it's always fun, right? It's exciting. There's new environment, different plants, different animals, different sounds, different fish. Different landscape, different weather sometimes. But we're here for the bass, the Suwannee bass. There are some big largemouth down here as well, so that's always a nice bonus. And the weather can be warmer than it is farther north. We're in South Georgia, by the way, because I am trying to complete the Georgia Bass Slam, which is an angler, one of the Georgia DNR's angler recognition programs for anglers that can find and catch at least 5 different species of black bass in the state of Georgia. You can catch up to 10. There are 10 different species on their list in the state of Georgia, and the Suwannee bass will be the 10th and final fish on that list for myself, at least. So let's see if we can find and catch a Suwannee bass. They have to be at least 8 inches. Well, folks, I apologize. I had the camera off when I caught this dude, and I thought the camera was on, so I'm still an amateur when it comes to the YouTube thing, obviously. But I caught this Suwannee bass on a shaky head with a black zoom trick worm. Now, you haven't seen me throw black a lot, but that's because I've been above the fall line. When you get down here, a lot of the hellgrammites are black. Black is just a good color. It always has been down in South Georgia, Florida. Anytime you're below the fall line, black is a good color choice. But this fish, you would think, as fat as this fish is, that it would be a female, but it's a male. And actually, when I grabbed this fish, you can see, well, now he's not going to do it, but he sprayed milt when I caught this fish, and they typically just do that around the spawn. So these fish usually spawn in February, early February to March. Again, we're in South Georgia. I've seen in some of the spring-fed rivers that they can spawn just pretty much any time, but here in South Georgia, they typically spawn in February. But I guess if you have a warm spell, a warm period, they can obviously spawn before then. I don't think this fish is going to spawn anytime soon, but I could be wrong about that. I'm going to get a measurement and take a picture for the Georgia Bass Slam. I've got to for the Georgia Bass Slam, you have to have a picture of the fish on a board, and you also you need to have a picture of the angler holding the fish. So I've got to turn this camera off to do that, and I'll be right back and we'll get a release on this guy. Okay, so here's our board shot. It's a 13-inch fish with the mouth closed, and he doesn't want to close his mouth. There we go. Nice chunky Suwannee bass. Get our release here. See you, buddy. Just pulled it away from one right there. I do not know what is going on. They really pop the bait, but then they don't hold it. They're not holding on to it. I don't like throwing this shaky head in this heavy cover, but well, there's a new fish to the channel. I guess if you fish below the fall line very much, you know what that is. That's a warmouth. And their tail normally does not look like this. Something has taken a big chunk out of his tail. I guess better his tail than his head, right? But that's a warmouth, and you can see why they call them a warmouth. They've got a pretty big mouth. A lot of anglers that have never caught these before, I've seen guys on YouTube or whatever, they think it's some kind of hybrid between a bluegill and a bass, which they're in different genera, so that really could not happen. It would be like it's extremely rare, and I don't think species that are classified in different genera, that are in a different genus, that they really cannot produce offspring. So you're never going to see a hybrid between a bluegill and a bass. I'm not going to say never. Some guy in a lab might make one someday. But anyway, that's a warmouth. And I've been setting the hook and missing a lot of fish. These will definitely hit a jig, any kind of Texas rig. Obviously I just caught one on a Texas rig, but they can drive you nuts if you're bass fishing. The good old warmouth. See ya. Just want to talk about the bait I'm using real quick. It's a Strike King flipping tube with a 5/16 ounce tungsten weight. I've got a 4/0 Gamakatsu extra wide gap super line hook there. I'm using 20-pound mono, and I've got a 7.3 Dobbins Fury series rod. It's the frog and jig rod, and if I was in a bass boat, I probably would not. I typically don't flip with this setup, but there's so much cover, so much tree cover hanging over the channel here that you really, a 7.6 is just too long. It's just, you spend too much time hitting bushes and stuff, and I just prefer the shorter rod. Also, when you're in a kayak and you have to navigate around these blowdowns and these trees in the water, a shorter rod, having shorter rods in the kayak, it's just easier to manage not only the kayak, but it's easier to paddle around those obstructions, which are pretty common here where I'm at. Oh yeah, look at that. That's a chunk. If you look up chunk in the dictionary, there's probably a picture of this Suwannee bass right here. Wow. Is that not beautiful? It's amazing fish. I say that all the time, but I really mean it. That is a crayfish eating machine right there. I'm gonna go to the bank and put this fish on the board real quick. It's probably 14, 15 inches maybe. And I'll get a weight. So he's right at 15 with the mouth closed. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time messing with this one because I think we might. I'm gonna try and, it's still early, so there's always a chance we might get a bigger one, but this is a really nice Suwannee bass, and I'll get a real quick weight. I've got to dig my scale out, so I got to turn the camera off. I'll be right back. Okay, that looks like 2 1/4 pounds. Okay, I'm gonna release on that guy. Wow, she was ready. So right at 2 1/4 pounds. The Georgia state record, by the way, is 3 pounds 9 ounces, and the world record is 3 pounds 14 ounces. The world record, of course, was caught in Florida from the Suwannee River. So they do get bigger, about a little over a pound bigger. The 3 pounder is usually in the 16-inch range, so, or bigger. So that's kind of what I'm always shooting for. But that's a nice fish. A really nice Suwannee bass right there. Much larger than average size. Oh, there's a good one. Okay. Not a Suwannee bass, but we'll take those on the old flipping tube. Right in the roof of the mouth. I guess we're gonna have to get the scale on that one. That might be a new channel record, largemouth. Okay, let's see what this fish weighs. I apologize for not getting the cast and the hook set, but I got a SD card full message, and I'm not really sure what that means. Well, weighs a little over 5.5. There's the fish on the board, just so you can get some idea for the size. It's, you know, right at 22 with the old mouth closed. All right. See ya. Just caught this one slow rolling a spinnerbait. I had the camera off because I really wasn't expecting a fish, but just goes to show you that I also had the camera off because I got that SD card error. I'm not sure any of this is going to be on my is going to be on my SD card with that error. That's what I get for fishing in the rain with the camera out, I guess. Just a largemouth. Just a largemouth. A little chunkster on the flipping tube. See ya.